Well, it turns out that I'm not saying he's bisexual. Actually, that's kind of what I'm saying. Hi, I'm Alex Anders, and this is the Bisexual Romance Author Vlog. Today, I'm going to be talking about a few things. I'm going to be talking about the book that I just released on Amazon on Friday. I'm going to talk about the book that I released on Amazon a month ago because I might have some good news on that. I'm going to talk about my serious Bidar skills. And that's I'm going to talk about the Patreon campaign. So first, just want to let you know that I've talked about it a couple of times. My latest book has left everywhere outside of Amazon and has gone to Amazon. So Aladdin's First Time, which is, you can consider it, it's a bisexual romance, but it is heavy on the male-on-male side of the story. It's fun, it's exciting, it's very, very sexy, and is now only available on Amazon. And when you get it, you'll get Aladdin's First Time. Then you'll get Aladdin's Jasmine with it, just automatically. You will get Aladdin and His Prince Charming, which is a book I wrote a few years ago, with it, as well as Her Red Hood and Beauty and Two Beasts. And another story, a bonus story that I don't have to mention. So yes, those stories are all available, and they're available on Amazon for 99 cents. That is correct. All those stories, 99 cents. Please check it out. I guarantee you that if you like sexy bisexual romance, you will love that book. Promise, promise, promise. So that's that book. Now, I want to talk about a book that I released, like 5 weeks ago. That would be Aladdin's Jasmine. And I've talked about it a number of times, and I've talked about it as the book that crashed, flopped. It was hard to deal with, broke my heart that it crashed, but I kind of have some news. So, quick little story. Back in September 2017, I released a book. September 2017. Released the book. It took about a week or two for it to get onto the Bisexual Romance bestsellers list. It climbed pretty quickly. It did great. Happy with it. No problem, right? So that's September 2017. I then immediately start writing another book. I finish it around November 2017, and I can't release it because I wrote it to be kind of like advertisement for the clothing company, so I could launch a clothing company and the book at the same time. Clothing company was supposed to launch in November, December, so I was just like, it was just perfect. It was perfect timing until I had problems with India and production, and I could not get the clothing company launched at that time. So I decided to hold on to the book because India told me that they would the clothing would be finished in like January. So I held the book and didn't release it in January. And January came, India still didn't have the clothing, so they said February, held the book, February came and went, and then I just couldn't, we got rid of India and started China. But the entire time, this book had been sitting on my shelf, my virtual shelf, and I was doing nothing with it, so I wasn't releasing it. I had time in that period to write a second book. So I had these two books and the two prequels for it that I wrote all in the interim. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do with this stuff? So finally, I said, screw it. I don't know what's happening to this clothing company, but I got to release this book because I get some money coming in. And I did. And I released them 2 weeks after each other. And honestly, I released them in, I'm going to say it was in May. And the two books flopped. The two books, the one I released in September 2017, it took 2 weeks to get the bestsellers list. These two just dropped like a stone. And I was like, uh-oh, this is a really bad thing. And I kept checking in for the entire month because you get a month on the new release list. And that's, it's like added promotion. People check the new release list for their next book. And in that month's time, it never made it onto the bestsellers list, onto the real bestsellers list. And I was like, oh crap, I just wasted, this is bad. This is bad because I released two books and I'm not getting any money from it. So, but I'm gonna I can't worry about that. I gotta worry about clothing company. So I kind of shifted my attention to that, and I was going to Japan and all that stuff. But what I noticed was, a month later, I didn't check my rankings for a month later, and a month later, both of them have made it to the bestsellers list. And it was like at 97 on the list and 99 on the list. So it wasn't like highly ranked. It was like maybe 18,000 on Amazon, but it was still there. And I was like, oh, that's good. It's like, it's not a complete failure. And that was, 2 months after I released the book. And I kept watching it, and it kept climbing higher and higher until finally at 3 months, it reached its highest peak. And I think they were both in the top 20, I think, on the Bisexual Romance bestsellers list. But the moral of the story is it took 3 months for that book to get there. And I don't know why that would be, because my previous book just got there in a snap. And all my previous books had gotten there within 2 weeks, within 3 weeks, So I don't understand why that one took so long. I think it might have been because it's been such a long time since I'd released the one in September to May. What is that? 5, 6, 7, 8 months? That's like 7 or 8 months. So maybe my readers stopped like constantly looking, and then it took them a while to find the book. And then once it did, it did well. So that's that story. So let's talk about Aladdin's Jasmine now. So Aladdin's Jasmine, I told you guys, the first thing I said to you guys after it came out was, it's at 93,000, right? And then next thing I said was, it's at 99,000. And then, it's at 149,000. So that's crashing. But a week ago, I looked at, there's two ways you can check your ranking. You could either just go to the page, your author page, and it's on the page, or Amazon provides this ranking chart where you can see the ranking of all the books at any given moment. And they take it, I don't know whether they average out your day's rankings and then give you a ranking based on that every day, or whether they just like choose a time, like 2 o'clock in the morning, something like that, on every day, and then they just get a ranking from that. I'm not sure how they do it, but they do it consistently so that you can tell how a book is doing on a consistent basis. And when I was telling you those 93, 99, 149,000, I hadn't been checking that chart. I just I went to go to the page, check out the ranking, and whatever the ranking was, that's what I told you guys. I decided a week ago to go and check out the thing that's provided by Amazon. And yeah, when I first released the book, it was in the 30,000s, and then it slowly just crashed down to like 129,000. But what I couldn't tell from just looking at the page was after like a week and a half of being out, it hits the lowest point, then slowly it started to climb. And I'm seeing this for the first time. And it started to climb and climb and climb. And still the numbers weren't great. Like we were climbing from 129,000 to like 80,000. And then 79,000. And then 75,000. And 72,000. And 71,000. And the day I looked at it last week, it had peaked at, like it shot up one day to 57,000. Like when it starts at 129,000, 57,000 and a gradual increase is kind of fantastic. Like that's saying there's a trend going on. So that was last week. And I'm like, oh wait, this book might not be like a failure. This could actually renew itself. This could revive itself. So I didn't want to watch it because a watch pot never boils. But I go to this morning when I was thinking about doing a video, I was like, oh, maybe I should mention to you guys that maybe the book isn't a failure. Maybe like something I might actually be able to like release the audiobook on this. I go and I check the rankings today, and it turns out that last week was the last time it had gone up. So it was going up and up and up and up and up and up. I looked at it and it was like its highest peak, and then it started going down and down and down and down and down. Like not hugely, but like, going from 57,000 to 66,000 to 71,000 and then to 76,000 and then up to 72,000. So it just started like bouncing up and down. And I'm like, and this is me looking this morning, and then on Thursday, the ranking was 100,000. I'm like, oh man, that's the worst it's been in 3 weeks. So it looks like it wasn't on an upward trend. It looks like it was just like I don't know what it was. It's just something. I was really saddened by that, and I started talking to someone else over, Messenger, just a random conversation about just stuff. And I go, okay, well, let me make this video. So let me check to see what the ranking is again. And in between that time period of me texting and then me looking again, they had posted Friday's rankings, and on Friday it was at 51,000. So it dropped to 100,000 and jumped back up to 51,000, which is the highest it's been in a month. The highest it's been since I first released it, and all of my newsletter readers went and purchased it. So I can say that I have no clue what's happening with that book. No clue. Is it trending upwards? It seemed like it, but then it started trending downwards over like a week. So it could be trending downwards, but then it hit its lowest point in 3 weeks, and then it hit its highest point in a month. So, okay, so it might be trending like it's not gonna flop. It might be trending like it just takes some time for people to read it. I don't know why it would take time. I released Until Her Toes Curl, and that one did like it. I announced it. It dropped a little bit, and then it bounced in and out of the bestsellers list, and then slowly dropped out of it. But it always remains like around 30,000 somewhere, which is respectable. Like I don't. It's not great to have a book at 30,000, but if you have a couple books at 30,000, then it's doable. So that one just did fine, and then a couple weeks later, I released this one, and this one didn't do that. It just completely crashed. So I can't explain why it might be growing or why it crashed and why it might be growing. I have no idea, but it might be. And if it hits like 40,000 and kind of like hovers around 40,000, then I will finish the audiobook and release that. I think that's kind of good news. Like, I'm taking the good news wherever I can find it, and I'm taking that as good news. Yeah. I mean, in the meantime, I'm working on the book that I was working on once I got back from Japan, the Japanese story, which I also calling the Portland story. I'm working on that. I think I'm probably maybe 5 or 6 days away from finishing that, because I'd already written 30,000 words on it. Like I wrote about 5,000 words on it, and then I stopped and started writing the sequel to Island Candy. And then after Island Candy, I wrote Her Red Hood, but then I returned to it and I wrote 20,000 words on it. And then I stopped it to write Aladdin, and I returned and wrote 4,000 words on it. And then I went to write Aladdin's first time. So I wrote 30,000, and I only think I have like 5 or 6 days left on writing it. And that's going to be coming out soon. I'll talk more about that later. So that's kind of my publishing adventure right now. Now let's talk about something which is really important, which is praising myself on my superior Bidar. And if you guys aren't familiar with that term, it's like gaydar or one thing for bisexuals. So I mentioned that I met a couple of people at the gym, like I'm friends with a couple of people at the gym. There was one person who was like a couple. One person who's a couple. There's one person I met, him, and then I met his girlfriend. And I met him thinking that he might be, like he's gay, right? But I was assuming he was gay, and then he introduced his girlfriend. I'm like, oh, I guess he's not gay. Maybe bisexual? But I don't know. Well, it turns out that I'm not saying he's bisexual. Actually, that's kind of what I'm saying. I'm saying that I was not wrong. I'm saying that I doubt he identifies as being bisexual, but I was not wrong. And it seems like, I've become friends with 3 people from the gym, and they are on the spread. All 3 of those are on the spread. 2 for absolute sure of those people I just mentioned, and the person I'd mentioned before, of absolute sure they're on the spread. And then a 3rd person, yeah. So, you know what? I can just do it. I can just go, that person's bisexual. That person's bisexual. There was one time myself and a couple of friends of mine were going down to Orange County to go to a club, which is crazy to leave Los Angeles to go to a club in Orange County. But anyway, we were going to Orange County to go to a club, and there's a bunch of us in a car, and we're all talking and stuff like that. And I'm listening to this one dude talk, and I turn to my friend and I say, that dude there? That dude's bisexual. And she's like, no, he's not. No, he's not. And then later on in the night, people were getting lap dances, and he was extremely drunk. And my friend overheard him say that he wanted a lap dance from a guy. And she turned to me and went, you called it. And I'm like, yeah, I did. So I'm just saying, if you don't believe in Bidar, you are so wrong. And then one day, when you get to my stage, when you're just sporting bi t-shirts and I don't know, doing buy videos. I don't know how it happens. Just one day though, you too will have Bidar and be able to just randomly pick out people and go, yes, that person right there. They're not straight. They're not gay. That person's bisexual. I just wanted to mention that because, yeah, I'm feeling very proud of myself because of that. Yeah, yeah. And then finally, I wanted to mention the Patreon campaign. First of all, I'd really like to genuinely and sincerely thank all of you who contributed to the campaign. It's slowly building. It means a lot to me. It really does. And I think it will allow me to return to making videos. I can't right now, you guys can check out my page. There's a link to it in the description below. If you can, please contribute. And you can see what the number is. You can see how much people have contributed so far. With that number, I can't devote as much time as I used to. But at that rate, at that number, I might be able to do like a video a month. So that's something. That's more than I was doing before. So yeah, I think I can return at that level. And if people contribute more, I might be able to move it up to 2 times a month. And then the more people are able to contribute, the more time I can devote to it. And I know what my first video is going to be. I don't know whether it's going to be released next week or whether it's going to be the week after that. But yeah, it looks like I'll be making videos again, thanks to you guys. And any contributions you can do helps. It's like about getting to the next level, getting to the next goal. At least the one in my head. Maybe I should put that goal on the page itself so you can see what the goal is. But yeah, I'm really grateful for you, for everyone who's contributed. And if you have contributed, and you're wondering, oh, when do I receive my prize? Because I know if you, especially if you got a T-shirt, you're wondering when that will be coming. I will be posting next week on the Patreon page. Like I'll be getting the information then. Because, if you got a T-shirt, I'm going to ask you which T-shirt you want. And also if you got a book, I will be asking you which book you want. So I'll be starting that next week to get it out. Trying to get as many people, wait for as many people to contribute as possible in a reasonable time so that I can do it all at once so it's not like piecemeal. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. So yeah, that's it. If you would like to check out, well, if you can support my Patreon page, please do. And if you support my Patreon page, you can choose which book you'll get, and you can get the book that just came out, which is Aladdin's First Time. And that, again, that is if you get it, you're just going to get Aladdin's First Time. If you get it from Amazon, you'll be able to get it with all the other books in it. So, if you contribute to the Patreon, which I really hope you do, you'll just be getting Aladdin's First Time. And if you want to support me by getting it on Amazon, you'll be getting the other books as well. So, that's it for this week. Until the next video, stay cooler, my bisexual friends. And reader friends. Stay cooler. Bye. I almost forgot the ending there. Bye.